Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everybody. Hio Homi Takiape, Ava Cordovi Machiape, Malakota and Taos Pueblo. My Thama is Joseph Conquilla Cordova. My Iner and my cause, Patricia Crow Cordova. I'm sixth generation from Chief Red Cloud. I'm the owner operator of AC and Associates. I'm a mother, daughter, community member, unchi, um, friend. I am a recent um, person who got a booster shot. There's a lot of things about me that I could tell you. Um, so today is Saturday, December 10th, and it's about eight-ish. And today is, I guess, another day of me doing December Daily Dose, which is a winter wisdom series that I said I would complete for the month of December. So going live every day in the month of December, even if it's just a moment to show you what it is that I'm doing, or come on and have a conversation with you, or also come on and have a conversation with maybe somebody, a friend of mine that I've invited to share or to be here. So, shout out, hello, Joanne Ferguson. We see you. Thanks for checking in. Um, Again, like I said, today is Saturday, December 10th. Today, I'm just gonna give you a real quick overview of my day. I slept all day. All day I slept. I woke up late. I was supposed to do this at 12 o'clock. I woke up at 1:30. So that wasn't gonna happen at 12. That's why I don't really have a schedule for it, because if I would have put 12 o'clock, I would have missed it. And then if I put 8 o'clock. So, anyways, the point is I got rest. I'm here. I'm excited for tonight's conversation. And I have brought or invited an amazing woman to come join me, an amazing human being, amazing individual. I met this individual while I worked at a Native nonprofit that I was at for 13 and a half years. And I'm going to have her introduce herself. And I'm really excited that we can have a conversation. We recently went to lunch, and it was just such a safe space for me to talk to her and um, just have like a great conversation. So I asked her if she would come on, and she said yes. So I'm going to introduce her. Boo, boo, boo. And here we go. Jessica. Yay. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, the rumors are true. My name is Jessica. My name is Jessica Ruiz. I'm Huichol Chicana, LA born and raised, still here representing. Yeah, so thank you. This is cool. I've never been on something like this before, so thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, what's up? Like, do you have a series of questions? Like, how does this go? This is really cool.
So we don't have a series of questions, but if you have an idea of what you might want me to ask you, put it in the chat, and then I'll go put it in the chat that we have, and I'll ask you. Um, but usually just friends come on. Sometimes we chat before and say, hey, what's the questions you're going to ask? But
Right,
we didn't get to do that today.
right.
So, Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you introduced your name, but tell us like what you do. I had some amazing bread that you made me. You
Oh,
know, you are also, you mentioned about pictures you showed me. There's a whole bunch of information that we can talk about. This is more just conversation, friends having conversation. I know that also you are a therapist and you went to school to be a therapist. So uh, do all that. Tell us who is Jessica?
absolutely. Yes. I'm currently working as a photographer, even though my back is very heavy in social work. I've worked with social services, oh my goodness, for a really long time. I started way back when I was 19, doing outdoor education. I kind of stumbled into it by accident. And actually, before I continue though, I do want to point something out though. Although I went to Mount St. Mary's University and I got a bachelor's in social work. But I've actually never gone like the therapist route. I never got a master's. I never the therapist, but I kind of like inadvertently ended up working as a counselor, which is very similar. Like it's very valuable. Like it's so working as a counselor has definitely kind of fueled me to become a therapist. I would have never in a million years ever would have thought I would have gone in that field. But after I mean, now that I have my bachelor's, I do want to pursue a doctorate in clinical psychology.
Mm.
So I'm open to, whatever school I can go to, like when the time comes. I'm just not applying right now. I was gonna take the GRE in October, but I got sick. So I'm like, you know what? It's creator's plans. It's not meant to be right now. But that's definitely, part of my life plan. But yeah, to kind of go back, I really first started like my career in outdoor education. I actually really wanted to be a scientist. I had no interest working with people. I had no interest working with kids, to be honest. When I was a teenager, I actually felt like being a teacher or working with kids is like one of the worst jobs you can have. I was very against the idea, but I've been kind of like, just kind of like sucked in, I guess to say, I don't know, like kind of just found that that's part of my journey. I
Mm.
actually first started working in outdoor education when I was 19, and I stumbled into that by accident. I actually saw a commercial at like 3 in the morning one time that was talking about the agency I ended up applying for. And I'd never seen the commercial before or since. Like, it's really bizarre. And so then that kind of stumbled into working outdoor education for 7 years. I worked with teenagers. We did Teach Me to Camp. We worked with families. We worked with formerly incarcerated youth, foster children, native children, which is how we met.
Mm.
And that experience itself, I think, has really shaped me like who I am today. Like, I'm definitely a lot more outspoken. I'm a lot more confident, even though like a human, like any human, I struggle with confidence. But when I feel comfortable and I really, am put the time into it, I can present myself pretty well. um, so yeah, I mean, so just kind of when I ended up in outdoor education, I was living with my grandmother at the time, and I'm so sorry if the lighting is kind of. I'm trying. I should be still. Should I scoot back or is this okay?
No, you're good. I mean, I
Okay.
know I see the lighting go in and out, but I can see your face.
Okay. Cool. So I'll try to maybe not. I move a lot, and I actually have like um, um like a mobile desk. It's actually my Cricut table, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's the best spot in my room for lighting. If you hear squeaks too, that's my sister's dog Bruno. He is kind of like he's he's very vocal. He's very he's very needy. So oops, sorry, there goes my makeup.
You're okay.
But here we go. So let me get back on track. So in terms of like my career, um, it's been maybe like 15 years ago or so. I moved and I ended up taking care of her for about 12 years, like on and off. So that actually really kind of shaped like what kind of work I want to do.
Mm.
And it's funny because the way I ended up at UAII, because that's where you and I worked. I don't. Do you know the story how I ended up working there? Did I ever tell
No,
you?
no, no,
Oh,
no.
it's a good story. Okay, sorry. I'm like, get ready to go. So, I had no intention of ever applying there. I had no intention of ever working there. I kind of felt like, oh, there's no way I could ever work somewhere like that. I just felt like it was like so prestigious. Like it was so like well known in the Native community, and I just thought like all the therapists were amazing. Like I thought you're so amazing. You know what I mean? I thought there's no way I could ever end up working in a place like that. And so while I was taking care of my career, I had just gotten my bachelor's. So I was definitely like, in the field, like newly graduated with a bachelor's is weird, like it's kind of like now I can open these doors, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. but I was also living with my grandmother and taking care of her at that time, and she needed additional care. Um, I was kind of considering hiring a caregiver, and then that caregiver, long story short, was kind of like seeking additional services, like just supportive services, right? And so then, we talked about sorry, UAII, and like he knew about it, and so then like I'm like, well, let's go down there together to reconnect. So when we did, I was in the waiting room, like downstairs at the 7Gs in the basement. Um, and then like I saw a flyer talking about like an IHOP position, and I was like, "What is that?" And I read it. I thought it sounded amazing, and I was like, "No, I would never get it." I totally was already like self doubt, very negative, hard on myself. I'm like, I just have a bachelor's. I don't have to, because I think it said like 2 years experience, like in whatever, like a clinical setting, something like that. Something that I felt like I didn't qualify.
Mhm.
But later, when I was talking to the staff about the position, they were like, "Oh, but you've worked with, kids before. Like you've done that work. You just haven't like, whatever. Maybe done like the paperwork aspect or whatever." And so I really wasn't convinced that I could even apply. And it's crazy because at that time, Rachel Fernandez was working in the front desk. And so I was asking her questions, and she really encouraged me to apply. In fact, she even told me, like, email me your resume and I'll help you. Like, I'll go over it with you. And I was like, like, really? Like, I don't know. And then she was like, we could really use like someone like you on our team, like, like your energy and your smile. You're so friendly. And I was like, really? Okay. Yeah, that's really nice. And to this day, I mean, she's still awesome. When I run into her occasionally, like she's still really cheery and sweet. So that's cool. But yeah, I applied, and I ended up getting an interview, and yeah, I even, girl, I almost walked out of the interview. Like I was this close to walking. I was so close to walking out of the interview. And I kind of like at that time was like, creator, like give me a sign. Give me a sign if I should stay here. Like, cause I don't think I'd sit here. I mean, even though I had applied. Um, and seriously, like lo and behold, the door opens, and in who comes in is Dr. McCoby, Dr. Anita McCoby, who I had actually worked with before. I knew her. So I was like, so when we saw each other, we hugged, we embraced each other. Like we were so, because we hadn't seen each other in years.
Mhm.
And then it was funny because she had just had her interview, and Dr. Johnson was like, wow, like, is like, I guess, like, it's when you don't expect people to know each other, like, it just kind of, come off as like a surprise. But
Mhm.
then later, Anita told me that, like, it was more shocking for Dr. Johnson because Anita had just sold herself as, like, I'm a very social person. I'm a very, like, people, I get along very well with people, like, and, like, you know, you're
Uh-huh.
me, and we already know have a rapport. So I was just like, oh, like, so, so it's funny. And I'm like, all right, creator, I guess I'll stay. Stay.
That's a funny story. I love Anita. I reached out to her because you mentioned the work that she's doing. And it was just really, I was really glad that you still have a connection with her. And I still haven't got a chance to connect with her, but I am going to connect with her. It's so great to see, see and hear. I haven't seen yet, but to hear of the magnitude that she has connected to community and continuing to do such heart work. My sister calls it heart work, and I love that phrase. So I've been using a lot. But I know she was an amazing woman, and I'm glad that you knew each other. And just like me and you, we met each other too, and we knew each other. But I was glad to see that you were on the team, and there's a lot of different memories that we have from different events to you going to your families and doing great things for them. It was a great time. I always think of the time that I was there to the time that I left. It was 13 and a half years. And to learn all these skills and be able to connect with community or learn how to put an event together or learn how families made memories just by simply going to the beach or, to the park or getting out of that that environment, whether it be good or bad, that they were in for just a minute to make memories with family, to work on themselves. And I like how you also said about how you didn't believe in yourself or, all that other stuff too. But what a great time that we had together after that.
Yeah, incredible. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm like, all right, creator. I give, when I'm like, I'm never wrong. All creator, like just that internal um side. And I'll put it to creator. I mean, I'll still do it for sure.
Mhm.
It's never gone wrong yet. I'm
I
very
also wanted to mention everybody that's watching. I don't know if you have ever been around United American Indian involvement, I'd say in the past, I don't know, 15 years, 15 to 18 years, maybe even longer. But there was an amazing person. Her name was Cheryl Jackson. And me and Jessica both knew Cheryl, and Jessica was really close with Cheryl. But Cheryl was so amazing. I mean, different people have different perspectives of us. I get that, and some people might have had a different perspective, but to go to Cheryl and to for her to make us laugh and for her to always like, what can I help you with? Or, late nights before Indian Day, we were like getting ready. We would be in the office like from 9 o'clock in the morning to like 10 o'clock in the evening, maybe 11 o'clock in the evening. And also for times that I had like audits that we were there, we would just be in and out of her office and billing department, just trying to get our work done. And she would stay, and she kept things she just kept things normal, I guess, which when they weren't normal, they weren't normal, but she kept us grounded somehow. And, we had laughs and we had memories, and there were different like holidays that we shared together and meals that we shared together. It was just such a great time too when she was around. But if she's our ancestor now, and she's still in our heart. And um, I know you had several great trips with her,
yeah,
right? To different places.
yeah. I lucked out so much. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like a lot of people, I thought we had more time. So I'm just like, I'm very grateful for the time we did have and the trips we. Yeah. So for one of my birthdays, I don't even remember which birthday. Sometime in June, I think, maybe 2019. It was definitely before the pandemic. Um, we went all the way up to Nevada City, which is where she went to boarding school. Um,
Mhm.
for a Father's Day powwow. And it was, I feel like it's so crazy because I mean, I guess um, she would tell me that like, she's like, I have this ability that if there's something I have my mind to, I know, I can do it. And so she was thinking about attending that powwow at her boarding school because it meant a lot to her. She really enjoyed her time there. And I was like, well, you want to go? We could go. I'll take you. Whatever. And we ended up doing it. And so it was really cool to see like firsthand her talk about like this like the different classrooms she went to and like her classmates and all that just firsthand. But what's funny too is that when we got there, the powwow was on Sunday, and we got there at 4 p.m. and they were already closed. Like it had the powwow had happened earlier. It was like from the morning. It ended at 4 p.m. And she's like, "Oh no!" She's like, "Oh, we're so urban, like we're so used to things like starting late. Like I just thought it was gonna end late. She's like, I didn't even check." And I'm like, me neither.
Oh my gosh.
But we walked around, like the grounds, and it was so. I felt like a fan, like I was in her fan club. Like I was like, wow,
Mm.
at firsthand her walking around the grounds and stuff. But yeah, and then we went to see her family twice, and that was really special too. It was really great. I feel really lucky that Some of her family met my mom because one of her kids
Mm.
mom out. And so it's cute. One of her nieces. Oh my god! And if any of the Blackwaters are watching, hey, what's up? But yeah, for sure, one of her nieces, Ella, would tell me like, "Oh, make sure to bring your sister," and I'm like, "That's my mom," but okay, it's cool. Thank you. I bring, and my mom was like, "Yes, your sister." So and Cheryl too, and Cheryl and my mom actually had a little bit of a relationship. So I feel really lucky. Like I'm grateful that like I got a lot of Cheryl. So you know what I mean? Like um, so no, I'm a big fan. She was very smart, very calm, cool, collected, like really intelligent. Extremely. I think she's really one of the smartest people I've ever met, for sure.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That's why I think sometimes I felt so disconnected at UAII, because I kind of felt like she ran a lot more things I think than we realized. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
and I would tell her about that, and we would talk about it. And then there were times it was really cool to see. There were times she would speak up, and that was cool.
Hmm.
Because she would say like, you know what, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I was like, well, let's do it. Hey, come on, let's practice staff meeting. And she would. It was cool. It was really
Mm.
cool. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah, and I'm really grateful that she is, getting honored and getting the credit that's due, and like the impact that she had on the community. Like I'm grateful to acknowledging because it's so true. It's so true.
Mhm.
Um,
She made a lot of things happen, like you said, and whether it was hard work or not, it was going to get done because she would get it done.
yeah. Yep.
So great, great, great friends to have to empower you to just be there also for you when you were going through things. I
Yep.
mean, there's a lot of individuals that we wish that we could talk to, and that could understand us. And sometimes you may have that and sometimes you don't. But when you do have it and you can turn to somebody and they cry with you, they laugh with you, they dance with you, it's a different type of relationship. And that's a relationship that you may not have with a lot of people, but when you have it, it means so much.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. And and it's crazy too. You say like yeah, you must have known like over 13 and the time that you were working there. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, sure, like what you guys went through. Because I'm like, I knew for a short amount of time. I think when I started working in 2017, like time is so relative. It's crazy. Like,
Wow,
uh,
2017. That's not even, that's awesome.
yeah, it's crazy. So that's why I'm like, I'm sure the relationship we had with her was strong and
Yeah.
long. But it's just like to me, I'm like I really didn't know her that long. Real, it's just a short amount of time. So
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm really grateful for her influence on me. She's made a major influence on my life for sure. 100.
Mhm.
She's really the reason why I'm going for my doctorate. Really, a major reason. Yeah, yeah. Because she was like, "You could do it. Come on." She told me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm just and I feel her sometimes too. Like I think
Mhm.
yeah, like whenever I kind of like need her, I kind of feel like she's got my back.
I love you say that though too. Let's talk on that a little bit because as the holiday season gets here or is here, I feel like it's not holiday. I feel like to me it doesn't feel like Christmas or the holiday season. But
Right.
as the holiday is here, November, December, January is a lot of time when mental health goes higher.
Yep.
Love it, love your hat. And um, I think people maybe they miss people, that they're grieving for. You know, um, it's it's cold and it's dark and it comes with a time of a depression state. But
Mhm.
I love how you say that you can feel her
Yeah.
because although we may miss her physically or we may miss somebody physically, how do you continue to go on and still feel them and then embrace that feeling that you have towards them?
Right. No, I actually struggled during the holidays for 100%, and I think that's why during the holiday seasons I would always be up in Cheryl's grill, always like, "Come on, where are we going?" Always, because a lot of times too, she would, she lived alone, so she would, like, she was okay with being by herself. But I was like, girl, use me. I'm your free Uber. I'm your free Lyft. Come on, we gotta live. And she was like, okay. And so, all right, we would just do it. And like for instance, like the drum and dance. Like I mean, it's I think I really miss that, and that is probably one of the highlights of my life, like of my life. Like not only did I get to learn medicine, and I was actually uh, practicing a little bit this morning, like jingle. Like I was like,
Mm,
I remember I got this.
mhm,
But for Cheryl too, Cheryl, the fact that she did the whole series of drum and dance, was really important for both of us. Like,
mhm,
and I think that's, I mean, I feel like the lessons that you guys are trying to teach us about the importance of culture and like tradition and like continuing it and learning. I feel like that's literally what happened to Cheryl and I. We would talk about it on the drive home, like and it's just really beautiful and we would talk about like when we passed, like that was kind of like an open thing. I mean, not all the time obviously, but
yeah,
just I'd be like, wow, because I would be open with her about my depression and like my anxiety. I'm grateful right now it's managed, but there were times when I was working at UAI that I struggled.
mm,
uh, so yeah, she was like my therapist. She was
mm,
really
mm,
yeah. So like I complained to her, like I called the EAP number, the Employment Assistance Program, and I'm like, I don't like it. They told me they're gonna send me something, they didn't send me anything. She's like, "Oh, I know that's how they can be." And I'm like, yeah, just the fact that she validated me, I was like,
mm,
yeah, like but yeah, I mean, in fact, like she was very non-judgmental when I would be open with her about my struggle with medication.
mm,
And like, yeah, I mean, I remember one time we were at Norms and I had just like refilled my anti-anxiety medication and my the other one, the antidepressive medication, and I noticed how it was working, and I felt so good. And we are at Norms and I just started crying, and
mm,
she was like, "It's okay." She was like, "It's okay." She's like, "Just stay on them." Just that's all. She didn't really have to say much, but she was very empathetic, and she would tell me, she's like, "You know what? Just I noticed a difference." She would straight up call it out. Uh,
yeah. Oh
so
my gosh, that's freaking amazing. Jessica, I appreciate you. I appreciate you because, I asked for you to have come on here and have a simple conversation and have, talks and just join me. But for you to really like say that, some people, um, they might hide behind their diagnosis or whatever, or but for you to just be able to say how a friend encouraged you or talked to you and helped you through whatever it is that you're going through. I mean, she was an amazing person, but also to help you get through your life is such another thing, and the other thing too is as a trained professional, like somebody like myself maybe who don't know what is going on with me and then I turn to you and that you can have a great conversation or we're not all perfect, we all have things that are happening in our lives. I always say like we never know what's going on behind closed doors behind other people's lives, but the simple fact that you had the friend and that she was there and she was just like it's okay to cry, what great medicine that is.
oh yeah, oh yeah, she was very strong. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm very grateful. That's why I'm just like, oh yeah, it's very easy to talk about how awesome. Yeah. And I'm sure too. I'm sure you have like similar stories of just like her. She was very empathetic, very calm, cool, collected. Like, I feel like, oh my God, girl, I'm like, I could talk about her all day. Like, I'm such a fan. Besides the fact that I loved her, like really like a sister, a mother, like it I'm really fortunate that I became closer to her than like more than a coworker. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm very grateful for that.
Hmm.
You don't always get that. It's kind of like you're saying,
Yeah.
we're lucky when we find, yeah, people that care about us and we care about back at a deep level. Um, but like, I don't. Did I ever tell you, girl? Okay, did I ever tell you a story of like when we went to Minnesota?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, it's so funny. I guess again, I have so many stories about her. So we went to visit Faye,
Oh.
and this out there, and who lives out up northern Minnesota, and so just kind of like on a dare. Oh, hold on one second. Come on, baby. I have to watch him because like he takes advantage of me. Not paying attention. But so yeah, we flew out to Minneapolis and um, we drove up the 4.5 hours to stay up. And it was a great time staying with Faye. That's really where I fell in love with Minnesota, and so did Cheryl. It was really cool. Like, we just besides, we had really nice conversation, but more than anything, like we played, because she had a really good taste in music, so we'd really play most of her playlists like on the drive up and see like the thousands of lakes. Like really, it was amazing, amazing. Um, and so at the end of this trip, we were there like less than a week. Uh, like I kind of had a mini meltdown at the airport because we
Mhm.
were about to board, and then I didn't realize I didn't have my wallet on me. And then like Cheryl's already walked past security, she's already checked in, she's already like, whatever. And I was like, Cheryl, I was like, I can't. I'm like, where's my wallet? I'm panicking. And she's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Just chill. And I was like, I can't go in. Like, I don't have my ID. And so I'm like, it's in the rental. Um, but I was like, I was afraid that we were gonna miss the flight. So I'm in full panic mode. And it's funny because I wonder, I mean, yeah, I think this is definitely, I think I was struggling on my medication at that time, so I'm not quite sure if I was, but like I definitely like was super panicked because I was like, I don't want to miss the flight, I don't want to whatever. And I just started crying, and I'm like, oh my God, I just started like just talking, whatever negatively, and she's
Mhm.
like, okay, like we'll just walk back to where the car was, and then it's we get to an attendant, and then there's no one there because at this point it's like 2 in the morning. Like it's just it was like really early flight and or something like that. But then I'm like, you know what? Let me see if the car's still in the parking lot because like I don't know if you've gone to the Minneapolis airport. Luckily, well, I mean a lot of airports have it, but like the garage is like right by the airport. So I was able to walk there, and with Cheryl, poor thing, we walked like all the way across the airport back to where the car was. Um, and then I saw our car, and then I was like, well, how, like I think it's in there, like in the glove compartment. But I'm like, there's no way of getting in. And then to drop off the rental car, there was a box for the key, like for the key for the rental car. And so I was like just out of desperation, I went to the box and I was like trying to like squeeze my hand in like the little slot, and I and I swear, Cheryl, like a genius, she takes out the box and she just like pops it and it just opens, and I'm like, my hands all like red and hurting from me trying to squeeze, and she's like, oh, it's open. And we're able to get the key, open my car, my wallet's there, and like we were able to handle it. And like I'm like, it was really her being calm, and she didn't make me feel bad. Like she wasn't like, oh, shut up. Like she wasn't mean to me, because in a weird, I mean, whatever. I wasn't gonna say I was expecting that, but I think a lot of times when like people get triggered or like well, especially maybe in my experience, I can't speak for everyone, right? In my experience, when I get triggered, like sometimes the people around me are like, ugh, like it kind of like repels people, right? But I didn't get that from her. She was just like, hey, let's focus on getting your wallet. And then after I was like, oh my gosh, Cheryl, I can't believe this. I can't believe I met those. She's like, yeah, I know. It's pretty funny. like, like it didn't, you know, it didn't, yeah, didn't make me feel bad. Didn't make it worse. Like she was really like the piece that kind of held it together because I was having a meltdown. And then and it's funny because then I told her like my anxiety just it went so fast forward. I literally in my head had this thing. I was like, all right, Cheryl, I can't find my ID. You go on. You leave me. Like I'll start new. I literally was like, I'll start a new life here. She's like, what's wrong with you? She was like, okay. But she never told me. But we laughed about it all the time. And when we came back from Minneapolis, we told people in the office. I mean, it's funny. It's a funny
Yeah.
story. At the time, it was not funny at all.
Aw.
Yeah. And she was like, I knew you were gonna find it. I knew it was gonna be fine. And I was like, how did you know though? But then I'm like, oh, like I think her being like, I forget. There's a term in psychology and a term in like the work that we do. I think it's like when someone has a hard time being like functional and being like kind of like being able to soothe themselves or whatever, right? Like you have someone next to them that is kind of like um stable. Like I forget the term, but I know that's something that we did in family preservation that we kind of modeled. Like okay, like you know, like whatever it was that we're trying to help them like work through. And I feel like she kind of like was like again, like she was like my therapist. It was really cool.
Mm,
And
mm.
like she definitely like I feel like the therapeutic work where she's just like, all right, just breathe. Right, I swear. So yeah, I'm really glad we went to Minneapolis. I mean, Minnesota. It was such a great time. It was really incredible. So yeah, that's another trip. That's another place that we went to.
What was the weather like? I'm glad it wasn't like cold and snowing. It doesn't sound like.
No, so yeah, we left out. We went October 2019. So we were
Mm.
literally a couple months before the pandemic. We just, or was it? Yeah,
Oh
like
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, I get the feeling that a calm demeanor can change things because my mom always had a calm demeanor. And even when things would get hectic, it was just like she was so calm and it made it feel so much easy. It made it feel so much better. Although we were like flipping out and going crazy in our own selves, there's this person that's like super calm, super chill, super able just to be like, it's going to be okay, just, you know, keep going. It's going to be okay. And that's what my mom was like too. So dang, those Indian women, those older Indian women.
So so incredible, so strong. Yeah. Shout out to Autumn. Yep. That was our
Ah,
team of people. Yep. Yeah, so incredible. Yeah, and again, I feel so grateful to be that close to her.
yeah,
Like I really felt like she was like a motherly figure,
yeah.
and a sister and all that. Yeah.
She always talked about her nephew and her family. And have you been able to be in touch with them since or from her passing?
A little bit with her sister,
Oh, okay.
Greta,
Great.
but no, nothing more than that. I do want to drive out there though and see them in person for sure. And yeah, I would love to. And cause it's funny. I even told Loretta that that I didn't realize that while Cheryl was alive, that she was kind of training me to like, make sure she's like, okay, what's my nephew's name again? What's his daughter's name? And I was like, why? And she's like, oh no, and she would really, and I was like, why do you want me to know? She's like, you want me to be some like weird like stalker that knows your whole life? Come on, she'll calm down, we just tease each other, right? But
Mhm.
she was beyond me. Come on, and like it's funny because like now I'm like now I understand. I'm like she's like, oh no,
Mhm.
long haul girl.
Mhm.
uh, and yeah, and I'll think about those times because she would quiz me. Her office in the basement. That's what she would quiz me. Come on, what's the name? Um, and I'm actually grateful. That's
Yeah.
like what a gift for her to give that to me. That
Mhm.
to make sure because they are special to her and they're really sweet, very great people.
Mm.
Um, and I kind of take that on that personal that I'm like, you know what, yeah, I want to be in touch and like whatever and hope to see them and um yeah, absolutely. Because they're really sweet, really beautiful people. And in fact, we went to a powwow one year out there in the reservation. Yeah, and I don't have it with me, but that's where I have my lanyard, where I hold my keys. That's where I bought it out there. Um,
Mm.
so, oh no, absolutely. I feel really grateful to have spent time there. To have, we went to a fry bread house in Phoenix. Like I feel so lucky that
I've been to the Favorite House in Phoenix.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. And I actually won a free meal from there because I put my little business card in their jar. It's so funny because too, recently, this past year, actually, I've been there. And the reason that I was there is because one of my best girlfriends, Jennifer Varenchek, was at one of her shorts was being filmed or was being screened at the Phoenix Film Festival. Um,
Oh,
one of the places that we had heard of was the Fry Bread House. So we made our way over to the Fry Bread House, and as we're sitting there eating, this LA Autumn family comes in, and they're like, "April, Jen." It was so weird that that was like such a meeting place, And then as we left, in the next couple of weeks, from leaving there and leaving my business card, they sent me an email and said, "Hey, we got your business card. Do you want a free meal?" And I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm not even there, like, because I live in LA." So I called I emailed Connor Chi. He's a Navajo pianist, and he lives in that area. And I was like, "Hey, I won this free meal. Do you want to pick it up? You could be my associate, AC and Associates." So he was like, "Yeah, for sure." But there's another place too that they have, and I don't know. It's like a food shack right off the res. So I'm planning to go with you to go visit Cheryl's family, but not in the hot summer. Maybe something towards, I don't know, October, November, October. Um, let's go. Let's do it.
yeah. Who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Donna. Donna.
Mhm.
Um. Huh?
I was gonna say Estrella, but that's Estrella.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what's up.
Okay.
Yeah. LB Hustler. What's up, girl? Yes, Donna. Her. What was I telling her about? Oh yeah, I was telling her how I kind of, I definitely, I want to see if actually this winter, like this month or next month, I can visit. But
Hmm.
besides times, I was thinking about her birthday, February 8th. That's such a good time.
Mm.
I don't know, just for her birthday. I think maybe, and again, that might be my anxiety, future trip, and whatever. But I'm like, I can't imagine having her birthday without her being here. I just that's that's yeah, that's rough. But I know she's here in spirit.
Yeah.
And like what you mentioned it earlier, how I said like I feel like signs from her, and I feel like I do for sure. Um, Back, one of them is let me see, it's right here. Oh, here it is. I knew it was right here. Oh, so this feather, you see this feather? It's like of a, it's, okay, I'm pretty sure, and please, if someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's of a brown pelican because it's huge. It's a giant feather, you
Mm.
know, really
Mm.
big. Uh,
Mm.
we got this feather. I feel like this is like signs from Cheryl because I was walking down Huntington Beach because she lived by the beach, like she's Long Beach. And she would talk about like the reason why she's there is because like she loved the ocean. She loved being so close. And so I was walking there, and it was shortly after she passed, and I was definitely like mourning her. And I looked up in the sky, and like the clouds looked like her hair, because you know how she had that long, beautiful hair. And
Yeah.
I was, oh, Cheryl, like I just kind of like said it out loud, like, wow, Cheryl, like that looks like you, like you look so beautiful. And as I'm looking up, like this feather just like floated out of the sky, like out of
Oh,
nowhere, and I got it. And I'm like, Cheryl, stop. Because when she was alive, we would do that. Like, I'd be like, hey, Cheryl, I think this is a sign. She's like, yeah, it is. Like that. We would always back and forth. And she would, she would do the same with me. And so I was like, yeah, this is Cheryl. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's not coincidental. And I've never had that happen. Like,
mm,
and it's big. To me, this is such a huge feather. And so I'm grateful that I was taught, like, to ensure that the feather's preserved, you wash it in like dish soap, Dawn dish soap.
mm.
It's gentle enough that it still has like the oils so that the fibers are still together. I'm sure you know, but I'm just like, oh my God, Jill, thank you. So yeah, and I really, feel like, um, yeah, it's just I'm so grateful that we were able to talk a lot about native tradition and like being connected and seeing signs. Like I definitely feel very lucky. Like I spent yeah tons of time talking about that with her, and I know we even we talk about the importance of feathers. Like just I feel so grateful. I feel like it's all connected.
Mm.
And so yeah, I still have it. Uh, yeah, I feel like thank you, Cheryl.
It's,
uh,
well, if come February, if you aren't able to make it out there, let's have a dinner here in LA for her. Just
yeah,
let's go to dinner or celebrate her.
absolutely. Yeah,
Awesome.
but I do want to check out that place though that you said. I haven't heard of any off the res of that town. Oh, I would love some chumash. Oh, Barbara House is great.
Yeah, it is. It is really good. I'll shoot you the information because I know that the locals there say that there is a like a food cart there. But it's like I don't know. I'll get you the information because I know they sent it to me.
Thank you.
Um so
But
tell us about,
if you want, girl, if you want, I mean, if I do end up like making a trip this month or next month, I'll let you know just in case.
yeah, for sure. Please
Gosh,
let me for sure, for sure, for sure.
um, yeah. Okay.
Um Tell us about your photography
Oh, why? Thank you.
and
um,
how people can get in touch with you should they need a photographer.
right. Thank you. So, that is one of my Achilles heel, but I'm working on it. Well, I mean, you can go on my Instagram is Yeya. I wish I had it written.
Spell it to me and I can put it on screen.
Oh, okay. It's Yeya, photo like Photo lab LAB. That's my Instagram handle. So Yeya Photo Lab. And yeah, so I definitely have decided that like to finally stick to this and just because I think sometimes with my anxiousness and going back in the work field and all these different things that comes with work, I'm like I'm just too all over the place. I need to like stick to something and do it. Yeah, that's me. Thank you. So yeah, I've decided at least for this next 2 years. So, if it doesn't work in these 2 years, then I can really give it a rest. But so photography I've done kind of as a hobby since I was a kid, really. I even took photography classes in high school. I've worked at like three different dark rooms. I worked at a dark room in high school, South Pasadena High School. I worked at a dark room UC, Pasadena City College, and another dark room at Cal State LA. I was just always like taking extra photography classes. I even considered like getting a photography or associate arts in photography, like a certificate from PCC. But I just, it's I feel like it's a reoccurring message sometimes. Like, do you really want to go for the arts? I kind of felt guilty. I should stick with the sciences. I should stick with the STEM. Because before I ended up graduating with a bachelor's of science in social work, I kind of was all over the place. I was a environmental science major for a while. What was it? Environmental science something. I don't know. It was, and I took me 10 years to get my bachelor's, so I was like all over the place. Um, and so yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. When I get anxious, I bounce all over the place. What was it
No,
again?
you're okay. We're talking about your photography
Yeah.
and how you got into it.
Thank you so much. So, uh, yeah. So, I think kind of my work I've done in social work has really helped me in terms of photography because I ended up working for a photo studio here. I was an assistant manager. Shout out Santa Anita Media Mall, Picture People. They've closed. I'm pretty sure. I think they still have one in Montebello. But that was a pretty incredible opportunity. And it's so funny. The way I got that job was kind of similar to UAII in the sense of like, I didn't believe in myself. I kind of walked in like trying to find a place to develop film. Cause, like I mentioned before, I worked in different dark rooms. And so I stumbled upon there and they were like, no, like we do digital. They're like, but we are hiring. And I was like, yeah, but I'm a social work background. Like, what do you guys, what you guys been hiring me? And they're like, well, just apply. And they hired me, and I just kind of grew up in that. Well, not grew up, but like I ended up being an assistant manager. So I do have like that professional studio background
Mm.
experience. And I'm actually still friends with one of the photographers. She's a very close friend of mine from that time. So yeah, and being in that studio also kind of changed the direction of my life. It kind of reaffirmed my ability to work with kids and families um, because the majority, like I think about 50% of my clients in the studio were babies or under a year old. And I didn't know that before I got hired. Like it wasn't until afterward, and it terrified me. I almost quit. I was like, I don't like kids. I don't want to be working with no babies. Like I was so uncomfortable. And, I don't have any kids, so I was just like, no way. But I never had any issues. It was fine. Like, they were like, come on, just do it. It's not a big deal. I mean, babies are great. Babies are chill. I think babies are about energy. If you have a good, clean energy, they'll work with you, whatever. And the couple times where it kind of did go wrong, like, it was just, like, for instance, there was this one time where a baby ended up kind of falling off of a chair. And it was scary for all of us. And like, it was definitely my fault because, but the baby was, I mean, it wasn't like a newborn, it was like an older baby. It was like, I want to say like almost a year. Um, but, it definitely scared me. It scared the family. Like, I totally panicked. But the baby was fine. Like it wasn't, nothing happened. But the pictures after that incident, like the pictures were better because like the baby was kind of like mad at me. Like he would get the rubber duck and squeeze it like that, and like I would take the picture, right? And the parents were like, "Dude, like, like I know, like, because the pictures before the baby fell, like the baby, okay, whatever. He was like he would squeeze that rubber duck, like it was like, I mean, I would never. That's not okay. It was I would never like
Yeah.
pictures are gonna come out better, but it was just fascinating, like learning from that experience. And at the time, I lived with my family nurse for like over 30 years, and I was horrified. Baby fell. I'm the worst on earth. I'm gonna get fired. And she was like, "Why? Babies fall all the time." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "No, babies are built to fall." I'm like,
Mm.
"What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's fine." She's like, "When I was growing up, babies were falling all over the place. We were fine." Like, I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, because she was one of 18. So there's a lot of
Wow.
yeah. Um, so it's just so funny how like, just working in a photo studio also definitely like formed my life. And yeah, made me realize like I love working with families and kids. Like what I love, it's interesting because there's a lot of similar skills to social work and photography. I mean, at least for me, because like it's like there's similar social skills, but there's no risk. like, when I work with family preservation, it's like, oh my, see the risk level, make sure like, whatever, like, that the kids aren't being harmed, whatever, right? It's like, it's kind of more intense. But as a photographer, I'm only with these families or these kids really short. Like, we could still kind of, whatever, in that short amount of time, talk about what is it that they want. Like, we're creating this art together. And then, yeah, they kind of go on their way. So it's kind of nice to kind of be going back into this field of working in a positive way with families.
Hmm.
So, but it's just, kind of the issue I have is me. Like, I've just been very anxious starting. And yeah, I'm working on it for sure.
Good. I mean, you know you're working on it and it's helping you and it's helped you. And babies, they're amazing. And
Incredible.
just like humans, they get scratched up, they fall, but then, we grow up to be hopefully, um changes in society.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Resilient babies. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's funny too. Like my friend that when we were photographers, like I took pictures of her son when he was a toddler, and now like he's like a preteen, and it's like blowing my mind. I can't. I'm not a parent, but I'm like, just that is like. I mean, I know it's part of the parent journey when like time flies with your kid, and like you really see like the world through the eyes of a child. But
Mm.
it's like it's so incredible, and I feel very fortunate. I sometimes wonder like all these babies I took pictures of, like this baby with the rubber ducky. I still have the pictures like in my head. I wonder how that baby must be a preteen now easily. So yeah, that's kind of why like starting photography. I hope to continue it. That's why I'm like at least 2 years because I would never want. It's precious meeting with families. That like I said, like the similarities of social work because it's an intimate, and like because sometimes families would bicker or kids do cry or you kind of see family dynamics. I've definitely, and it's fascinating when I worked in the photo studio. Sometimes there'd be like a couple coming with their newborn, and then like a year later, it's just the mom and like she's divorced from the dad and she's trying to get pictures for herself for her dating profile, like like it's more than like pictures, like it's
Yeah.
because there is a rapport with the studio and a trust with the photographers, like see their life, like so I see the similarities of social work, to me at least.
That's very interesting because I wouldn't even have thought about that. Like how you think, how your thought process, or even what you just said right now. I wouldn't even have thought about that. But
Isn't that
that's
right? Just experience, you'll see things that like you
Mhm.
would have never saw coming, and I would have never thought so either. Yeah,
Mhm. Wow,
it's
that's
cool.
interesting. Okay, cool.
So hopefully we
Well,
art sometime, girl.
we definitely need to it was great hanging out with you for lunch the other day, and we definitely should do something. Maybe we can go for a walk at somewhere, and take pictures or do something, but definitely going to be continuing to hang out and just, continue on life and our friendships after, such a great time that we had together. Is there anything else that you want to say, that you want to tell people while we're here?
No, well, just happy holidays. Hang in there. It's okay. I still struggle with the holidays. Don't worry.
Mm.
I spent things taking a lot of hours by myself, and that's okay. What you got to do to survive, honestly. I mean, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, like it's okay.
Yeah,
uh,
and I like that you said that, is because the other for things taking after um there was 4 days, Friday, like things taking is on a Thursday, and then everybody gets like a holiday Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And those days I stayed in my room and I slept and I just slept. And some before I probably would have been mad at myself for wasting away my day in a room just sleeping. But now that I think about it, like I need rest, and it's okay that I am taking care of myself. That's my self-care, that's my self-healing. And I'm not going to be mad that I have the opportunity to sleep as long as I do. But then too, when I'm awake, I do a lot of, I do get a lot of work done. So
You're
anyways,
busy.
I just want to make sure to let everybody know that, like, don't be hard on yourself for resting. That's what I want to say.
Do what you gotta do for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm all yeah. Compassion.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, thank you for being here. Thank you for jumping online with me. I apologize for not being here this afternoon, but I was asleep.
No, totally fine. Totally fine. I'm
Yeah.
glad yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here too. And we'll definitely get together again later. But keep in contact. Be safe. I'm here for you. Reach out to me if you need to. And happy
Likewise.
holidays. We'll see you
Thank
either
you.
this year or next year.
Absolutely. Thank you. I
You're
hope
welcome. We'll see you later.
you.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for checking in. Remember to be here tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. I don't know what time, but I will be checking in. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for watching Wisdom, Winter Wisdom series and December Daily Dose. Have a great night and we'll see you soon. Bye guys.